Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Dear participants, welcome you all back to the session. We have for our technical session, first technical session for today with us, Madam Dr. Dipti Tulpule, who is Assistant Dean at AMITY, Pune. I'm having great pleasure in welcoming Madam Dipti Tulpule, Madam.
Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am. On behalf of the Murugappa Polytechnic College and the Department of Mechanical Engineering, and on behalf of all the participants, I have great pleasure in welcoming Madam for today's session. So let me brief about Madam's profile for the participants. Madam is right now Assistant Dean in the AMITY University, Pune. Madam is also Vice Chairperson of Indian Society for Training and Development. Madam is a dynamic personality involved in teaching for more than 22 years. She works with the vision backed by effective strategy and plans to achieve time-bound goals in a challenging and highly regulated environment. Madam is an alumnus of IIM, and she completed HR in Analytics, PhD in Business Ethics, MBA in Marketing and HR, and BSc in Maths, Diploma in Training and Development, and Diploma in Exam, and completed Psychological First Aid by Johns Hopkins University, USA. She is recipient of Teaching Training Quality Excellence Award, awarded on 15th August this year by Indian Quality Assurance Council in collaboration with ICT Vadodara. Madam is also a certified trainer for the qualification packs, which involves about the entrepreneurship and professional skills by National Skill Development Corporation and Management. Madam is specialized in teaching to PG management students, training to industries, projects, research work. She also counselor for children and teenagers. Madam handled the behavioral sessions. Madam is a classical dancer and dramatist. Madam is a member of Society of HRM, Alliance for Integrity, National Human Resource Management, life member of Business Ethics Foundation, and is currently vice, as I informed earlier, Madam is the Vice Chairperson of ISTD Pune chapter since Madam is associated with the ISTD since 2005. Madam has continuous association with the industry for the enhancement of academic areas in the area of HRM and strategic management. Madam is a self-motivator and is continuously involved in development of INSHU and her own self. Madam Dipti, Madam provides corporate training to corporates on topics like knowing self, leadership, team building, mind mapping, corporate governance and ethics, and crisis management, self-image, group discussion, interview tactics, and psychological and spiritual upliftment. And Madam also conducted guest lectures for ISTD and electronic training sessions, OB, manpower planning and training methodology, emotional involvement, and HR analytics. Madam has written a couple of books to her credit, and Madam also wrote articles in various journals and newspapers like Sakal, Maharashtra Times, Hindustan Times, Indian Express, like that. Madam also presented research papers in national and international reputed journals in the area of management, human resource management, business ethics, and Madam is assisted in ARI, BEF, ISTD, Maharashtra Cell of Entrepreneurship Development and Management Institute from Pune and Mumbai for guest lectures to the students as well as faculty members. Such a wonderful personality is today with us for today's session. Madam is going to handle sessions on innovative teaching, learning, pedagogy using ICT tools. On behalf of all of you and on behalf of the institution, I'm having great pleasure in welcoming you, ma'am. And we would like to thank you for accepting our invitation to present a session on the topic. Welcome, ma'am. Now the session, you can.
Thank you very, very much, sir. I'm really grateful to Murugappa Polytechnic College the top management, faculty representative, and the team of Mrugappa, and a special thank to Mr. K.S. Shekhar to inviting me and giving me an opportunity to interact with all such dignitaries sitting in front of me. Although we are connected virtually, but I'll try to have a sense and a feeling that I am getting personally connected to each and every one of you. So thank you very much for inviting me again. Today's the entire workshop of the faculty development program, which has been conducted, is on pedagogy techniques and tools for technical education in new normal. So I'm the first batsman, I should say, who is going to talk about the innovative teaching learning pedagogy using ICT tool. So when I'm the first batsman, I think I'm going to take the session keeping in mind what the faculty, the student, and the methodology that should go hand in hand with respect to the changed scenario. So this is how I'm going to take about my session. Thank you very much. Just give me a minute's time to share my presentation with you. I hope this is comfortable to everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You can.
Right. Just a minute's time. Sharing होता है. Give me a minute's time. It's lagging from my end.
Yes, ma'am. No issue. You can take it over.
Screen has already not blank. Presentation is the
screen sharing.
Can you all see the screen?
No, ma'am. Just came and disappeared, ma'am. I think you can again click to share.
At my end, it is reflecting that I have shared.
Okay. Let me check, ma'am.
Screen sharing. Window वरती ठीक आहे. Window वरती त्याला सिलेक्ट करा. शेअर करा.
माझी विंडो शेअर होईल.
आता हे ओपन करा. PPT. PPT शेअर करा.
Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It's visible.
Was PPT visible or the screen was
No,
visible?
ma'am. Again, it disappeared, ma'am.
विंडोज करायला लागेल. विंडो वरती क्लिक करा. एंटायर विंडो.
Total. ఎలా?
नाही हे कॅन्सल करा. मी क्लिक करा. एंटायर विंडो. एंटायर स्क्रीन. आता क्लिक करा. शेअर करा. थांबा.
PPT होती है.
हाँ आता ओपन करा PPT. Now PPT share.
Can you see the PPT now?
Yes, ma'am. You can go to presentation mode, ma'am. You can go for presentation.
Can everyone see innovative teaching pedagogy?
Yeah, someone can confirm.
Yes, yes, it's visible. Huh?
So, all right. So
Visible.
I'm trying to be more confident that yes, everyone can see it now. Okay. All right. So at my end only it's lagging because I couldn't see. The audience can see it. All right. Good morning, everyone. I'll put it on a slideshow. All right. Good morning again. I should appreciate that we all have started concentrating on teaching pedagogy and then methodologies for it. Now, why is it required? Because we all, as a teacher, has witnessed many change in this 2 years. And when I'll be taking the session, I request each and every one of you to please help me out to take this. I'm not an expert in it to say so, because when I'm interacting with it during FDP, I have all honorable retreats sitting in front of me. And you all have also experienced and have your own expertise in conducting your respective lectures. So my request to you is, please let's have an interactive session wherein you feel that you have also contributed something very unique, different in your class. I would definitely like and request you to do share it in the session. Because when we are saying it's an FDP, it's all about learning from each other. So with due respect and a permission from you all, I take upon this session and expect that you can stop me when and where you want, and we can have an interactive sessions conducted. It's very much important because that's the very first struggle that we all as a teacher have suffered. So when we say innovativeness in our teaching, the very first thing that came to us was create more innovative style in ourselves where we can connect to the students virtually present. Because as a teacher, we also never had an experience of nobody sitting in front of our class and we talking to. And more the struggle with maths, stats, practical teachers who used to have laboratories and a practical session imparting knowledge to the student, of a sudden finding it too difficult to just sit on the virtual platform and trying to connect to student and explaining them the concept. So the very important thing that I personally thought when I'm about to talk about the innovative teaching is, let me break the session into two compartments and then slowly bring to the innovative pedagogy. So when we are moving ahead and trying to talk about what innovativeness can we bring in our classroom, I think we should first break the session in the teaching and the learning part. So when we break the session in teaching, it's we as a teacher who have to think that what type of concept am I going to deliver and in which style when I'm actually struggling to connect to persons sitting in front of me. And second is learning, because over here, the psychological aspect of student comes in. But when I'm trying to communicate this topic of teaching and learning, I have actually tried to bring both the teacher and the student, right? I know we are professors, I know we are dealing with a matured student, but I'm talking about teacher because the teacher concept talks about delivering the concept to the student. And so I'm using this word teacher is respect of whatever designation we are having back in our institute. So when we're talking about teaching and learning, there was a time when even teachers have started slowly shifting themselves to the learning mode, because we all are actually getting transformed into virtual teachers. So when we are talking about teaching and learning, it's more of a psychological aspect that we have to bring in, while delivering a session. Please, I'm not going to take any psychological class, but yes, I'm definitely going to make some sense where teachers are taking a lot of efforts to get into the mind of individual, because we are not struggling with the intellect part of a student, but we are struggling with their attention part, involvement part, emotionally connected to teacher. So when we are trying to talk about this pedagogy, we equally have to work on whether the students, the ward sitting in front of us, is getting involved in the style. Now, this brings to us to think about the style that I'm going to use with respect to the course or the subject that I'm going to deliver. So as a teacher, we also have to learn the style with the subject that we are taking up. So my style for HRM may differ from a marketing, may differ when I'm taking a behavioral science class. So that innovativeness has to be bought when we are delivering. I hope I'm okay. Is it okay? I prefer if you give me a feedback with okay, not okay. Am I audible? Everyone comfortable?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am. That encourages me and makes me happy too. Thank you very much. So the very first thing, I should appreciate ma'am who actually gave me a feedback that yes, now this is very, very important on a virtual platform, because we all struggle, including me, we all struggle when we say I'm actually talking to a blank screen. So the very first thing that we have to do is be present. Be present talks about attentive and responsive. It may happen. I do completely agree that we at times are parallelly doing our task and trying to attend to the session, and we are much mature enough to understand and grasp the thing. But then, if we are looking forward for the student sitting in front of us who falls in the bracket of 16 to 25, a critical age, tentative line, and a age group where they tend to get attracted to many other distractions, the very important thing to a teacher is be present. When I say present, be present in front of students, camera on, be expressive to them, talk to them, keep on taking a feedback, asking them. So even when we are delivering, in between, stop your statement and say, okay, Rahul, have you understood? Okay, Amit, let's recap. All right, Priya, I can see you raising hand. Now, when you are trying to pinpoint those, I know many a time they do not speak on their own, but when we say be present, your presence, your aura, your concentration on your student have to. That's a very first innovation that we as a teacher have to bring in ourselves to make student feel that we are present for you. Very first thing. Slowly, when this is a struggle, I know, because I was conducting this sessions even in other institutes. So one of the colleagues said me, ma'am, how many times are you going to call the name? There are times when we call 10 times and students do not respond. I completely agree to it. But I'm talking about the constant sessions of 36, 42 sessions that we conduct. You may feel that 1, 2 odd sessions students are not responding, but then there's a style. So at time from autocratic to supportive to collegial. So, if you start putting up and pinpointing the names of the student, they eventually get alert. Their brain get mechanized that, my faculty is going to call, and that name get registered. And one odd day, the person happened to speak. And this may take 2-3 lectures of yours to provoking people to speak. But when you show you're present for them, the responses start coming in. you can stop me and can ask me a question wherever you feel, because I know there will be many of them who may contradict, but I also know that when this contradiction comes, we also have lot many people who have taken and experimented lot many things during our class. So this will give us a good opportunity to talk to each other, learn from each other. So wherever you feel that you want to stop, share some experience, contradict, ask a question, I request you, please do it. So be present. I'll try to be present for you guys, and I want every one of you to be present for me. Moving ahead, when we are saying that I'm trying to be present, the very first thing when we are talking about the new era, the new beginning, the new changes that we all have witnessed, the very first thing is developing connections, because I believe that many of you might have taught a student for 2 years but might not have physically interacted. And with this trend, I think we are also going to sustain for 2 more years. So if it is so, it's very, very important to get connection, because we all have understood and we all have experienced and we all have agreed that when we physically used to conduct the session, or in the earlier part, we used to be there along with our students. So it was not only a learning that we used to communicate in the class, but even during the corridor, even into the different space of assignments, practicals, demonstrations, we used to be connected, and that the time that we spent together used to give us a connection mode. But now we are going to struggle. So we also have to think about some innovative style where we can have this connection, bring them into the learning mode, teaching them the concept, and then the actual learning take place. So this, when we are trying to derive a definition for innovation here, the very first thing is what we have to understand is how I'm going to talk about the connection. We have to develop a connection between ourselves and the student, and also among the student, because they are also not getting opportunity to get connected to each other. So a concern. So very first thing is, okay, subtle. We have our syllabus to cover, but then creating a small, space in your curriculum where, you can connect to a student. So, randomly talking to, say, hi, Kalpana, how are you doing? Kalpana, is everything okay at your place? Okay, we have covered day before yesterday this topic. Can you share something? Have you read? Now, Kalpana may come up saying that either she won't respond or she'll say, no, ma'am, I have not read anything. Don't worry. Now, this is a time when we have to struggle enough for saying ourselves and say, okay, Kalpana, no problem. But then, have you ever interacted with any of your batchmates? Have you interacted with Rahul? Have you interacted with Mohit? Have you interacted with Priya? She may land up saying that, no, I know Rahul, I have interacted because he stay close by, but I don't know Kalpana. I don't know Priya. Right? Now, these may look very stupid talks for you. Oh, I have my syllabus to complete. I have only 45 minutes or 1 hour time given us by my curriculum. But this is required, right? There are some stupid talks, but this is actually connecting a teacher to a student to the peers. And slowly, when Kalpana is asked, Kalpana, can you please share what we have studied day before yesterday? And on the very first lecture, she's saying, no, I haven't gone through the reading. You may say, never mind, Kalpana, after 2 days, again, if you have learned something, we'll be appreciating you to share in the class. Now, this look very, 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 very unstructured, but you can make this particular exercise much structured by involving students to have a 5-minute talk on the topics that you have delivered. Or in case of like Polytechnic College, you may have a small project, a concept talk to the student, and the student may ask, okay, you're going to talk about this particular project and a concept in a demonstrative way in a presentation style. Now, what we are doing, do you want me to stop? Hello? Okay. Can I please continue? Then moving ahead, we talk about creating partnership activities. We used to give lot of assignment, but now I think we should start developing an assignment. I'll just give one example for you. Now, you all can share whichever background you are from. I presumed that I'm talking to the faculty members who are from engineering, but may not be so. If you belong to different category, please share your experience, that how have you thought about creating your assignments. Now, one aspect that I would like to share from my end is, we used to give a lot of assignments and at time make mandatory assignment for individual. But at our end, what we started doing is we started creating more of a partnering assignment. Now, it's not only a group presentation that I would like to say, but yes, like for example, in our entrepreneurship new venture course, we said you are coming up with a proposal, right? So we started categorizing people with respect to the specialization. We made them into the group with respect to different divisions and asked them to come up with a small model in in 2 weeks time. So 15 days were given to the student and they were asked to come up with that. And the assessment was done and was been said that this will be getting accumulated in the course assessment. Now, this brought them to the sincere part that, if I do this assignment, I'm going to get marked. But on the second part, this was the initial thing that we did in order to create the seriousness among themselves. But the moment we started making these group, we were able to come up with 2-3 objectives. The one was people from irrespective divisions and groups, they came together, more of a informal talk, keeping in mind about the constructive topic. They started interacting with each other. Since we bought them that it's going to be an evaluation time, there was a little competition among us. They all started identifying their own competencies, but they started supplementing it more. So it took time, but it eventually helped us out in getting them, very well developed for the next semester, so that we can come up with much matured assignments for them. So we can think of one simple example if you want, like any one model you can say in the respective course. So you can you can divide the class into say 3 or 4 segments depending on the concentration or the integrity that that assignment required, that the project required, and then you can make them do that assignment. Now, not only asking them to do that particular designing part of that model, but we can also ask them, okay, think about how will you think about marketing part of it. Okay, think about how you're going to think about the sponsorship, because if you're going to come up with a physical model to be developed, you don't have money for that because you have to buy. So how you will think about the sponsorship? What will be your plan? Then, okay, you're going about proposal. You can't randomly walk to a cabin and say, okay, I want 15 lakh to sponsor for my project. So, this will help them out in analyzing themselves. Do they have capacity to understand what the market is? Who are the competitors? Who, how the manufacturing unit look like? What proposal required? What bank looks forward? What sponsorship look forward? So, along with one concept, one subject, the student is actually getting exposed to the real life concept that is required. And as a teacher, we do know we struggle in actually communicating this into the theoretical aspect. But when we practically start doing it, there are many more things which students eventually learn. With the concept of modeling part of it, engineering part of it, mechanical part of it, we are actually driving students to come together, understand the dynamics, power politics as well, which is a real life learning which students will definitely get. So this is how when we talk about creating partnership activities and treating them as an assignment, maybe more innovative in getting the things done and bringing the student into the psychological mode of learning. Do anybody would like to share anything, please? Please, do anybody would like to share anything, or should I continue? We can have a partnership session today. So if anybody would like to speak anything, please. Do anybody would like to share anything?
Yes, ma'am, I would like to share.
Thank you very much, ma'am. You made my day. Please go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry, I
Myself,
didn't see the name because the screen is full screen, so I am not able to figure out the name of the participant. Please take my
yeah,
apology for that. But
it's okay, ma'am. I'll introduce myself.
yes, ma'am.
Myself, Mrs. Gulshan Mullah, Assistant Professor in Sociology from Goa.
Oh, that's so
So,
great.
yeah. I would also like to share, like, what we do is, like, we give them the similar way, we give them some topics and we tell them to do a research,
Hmm.
actually a field research, okay? And
Okay.
then come up with, after
Hmm.
doing the field research, they have to write a report. And then we assess their report or we assess whatever they have done. This is one
Hmm.
way. And then in the class and all, we give them some class activities so that they come up with an interactive session. And
Session.
as well as we also conduct various activities for the students,
Hmm.
the students of our college. It's like ongoing process. Like every week, we come up with various activities from different departments, not only sociology department, but
Hmm.
even the other faculties from the other departments come up with various activities for our students. So because this is a pandemic time and online teaching, so we have to keep them, very busy. It shouldn't be only that we are providing them theoretical knowledge. Rather, they should also feel very, they should feel that, they should feel like coming to college. So for
Absolutely.
that, we have some,
Hmm.
activities for them
Oh,
in the
that's great.
class. Yeah, in
So,
the class.
do
As
you go for cross activities like from people from division to division or to the specialization to specialization?
it is when a particular department comes up with any activity, it is entire. It is for all the students of the college, whether it is
Oh,
arts, science, commerce,
oh,
and
that's great.
basically it's open for everyone. Whoever is interested, they can participate. Other than that, each teacher is made to conduct some activities for their own students in the class, so that
Hmm.
theory plus practical, something so that even they should be very interested in doing all these things. That's how
Those.
we keep doing many things in our college.
Yes, and that has bring us as a teacher a double job, but that is also helping us as a teacher to get into a development mode. So, we have also witnessed our point where our teacher used to have a small group with, with respect to their specialization, but we started realizing that, this changes that we are doing in our style is also improving teachers and the way our teachers are taking each other along. So with one change that we all do in the partnering activity contributed to the teacher part of it. So that's one of the observations that we all have. Thank you very much, ma'am. I am really thankful that you helped me out. Is there anybody else who would like to talk about anything? Anybody else? Can I move ahead now? All right. So thank you very much. And we would like to talk about understanding. So now we talked about some assignments that we can talk about, getting them into the group mode of it. But it's not like a common assignments that we used to do in a group activity or a presentation, but bringing them more innovative and more challenging. The thing was during our pandemic or during the slowdown, the way people are concentrating, books gone, digital gadget came, more concentration, more of the time people start spending on the gadget part of it. Now this is a time when we want them to be more creative, so the brain has to be thought about that and you have to keep them engaged. But on the other hand, we also have to slow down. We also have to understand that when you're personally connected to a person, the understanding is much better, which is not when it is on the virtual platform, because I'm trying to say something understood in a different way and people are not actually listening. So they may be a pretended learner, a listener, and so they land up into a pretended learner, which as a teacher we also suffer because we tried very hard in delivering what we want, but unfortunately we find that it's not coming back. I'll just share a few hour back, at the office where I'm in, I'm actually working on the internal marks scored by the faculty, students, and compiling. So we are doing all that job at our end. So in the morning, this lady came to me and I was saying, Ari, see how less marks, yeah, comparatively we'll have to think about it. And we teachers started discussing ourselves that it's so bad. How can we give mark at our expectation? Our standards are so high. This is what I wanted students to score, but unfortunately, they have not done that. This brings us back to think about on an average, we'll have to sit back and also try to understand that at what level are people receptive, because the moment you ask them, all right, Rahul, have you understood? Please try to give me an answer. He says, sorry, ma'am, technical problem. Sorry, ma'am, I couldn't hear. It was buffering and so forth. We don't know the reality, right? So sometimes they may be playing around with us, or sometimes it may be true. So we have to sit back and hold back. No need to rush. Concentrate on what my learning objectives are, what I want to teach, and it is getting connected. So you may land up saying that I have 7 topics to cover in my session, but when I was going through my virtual session, I figured out I was able to cover 5. Chill, no props, don't take tension. Ultimately, we have to think about how the learning is taking place. So a little bit exercise or expertise in stopping, getting connected, calling out the name, pulling up out, giving an attendance, telling them, I won't give you an attendance until you respond to me. Okay, I'm talking about the effective drawing to you, using a notepad, showing on a drawing. So instead of sharing a PPT, you can share a blank PPT, ask the students to scribble and show that particular model, maybe not good in structure, but yes, that virtual. So that involvement brings it. So when you strive to do that, your people are getting involved, right? On the other hand, you may contradict saying that, ma'am, we are stuck with the time to cover the syllabus. Chill. There are certain topics which you can also tell students to be more participative, so they can also be involved into self-learning. Now, for example, when I have to teach, let me put in an example for you. So when I have to teach, say, conflict, so when the concept has to be talked to them, I said, okay, one of the students are going to prepare these concepts and talks about the definition. So I don't spend my time in actually putting up my presentation and talking about that. But on the other hand, I do a small exercise, even virtually, asking the students to talk on, and they land up into an argument. So if you give a contradictory topic in the class and you start making them talk about it, they start getting into the fight mode. Arey, not that, arey, this, that, and you can't say so. Arey, what are you talking? And so that stuff comes in, right? The entire gets so chaotic. The class get chaotic, right? Now, I know I'm finding it difficult because I have 7 topics and a theory to talk about, but then I say, okay, now just let me know what went wrong. Then they say, how can this person, why you went into the fight? What are the things that you went into? What? I said, okay, you're going to talk about so many reasons that why are you fighting? What is this? Now they start talking about, ma'am, how can he see that I wanted to understand, he felt he talked bad about me. The other friend, no, I didn't, he misunderstood me. Then he said, no, I wanted to achieve a target, this particular objective, this point is right. No, whatever the point is, I'm just giving a virtual part of it. So they start. I said, okay, what was this? Then I bring them to the conflict part, definition. So only talk. So now students are doing half of the time that you want to do about communicating, but practically you said them, okay, the concept, and you talked about the negotiations. Okay, now start talking about the negotiation, right? So delivery. So the thing that we have to do is be more innovative in controlling of class, consent of the content and delivery of this. So if we sit back at our time and create our session plan, one session plan that we try to deposit to the institute saying what are the topics, but I personally say create your own session plan. Now when you say session plan is you have kept something in your mind that these are the things which my students should know, right? Technically, exam point of view, and this is something which they should really know. You make your own class session plan that these are the 7 things that who can cook with any of the way I'm going to talk to my student. Then sit back and think, okay, these are the things which my students will pick. These are the 7 things that I'm going to communicate to my class. So this is how the outcome can be matched with the time limit that we have. Then utilize technical rehearsals with guess a culprit. A time ahead. Now talk about the outcome, talk about the consent, talk about the division wise, talk about the comparison, talk about the students that are going to respond. It may happen that one class responds you much better than the other. So when one is responding better the other, you can also have a point that where they lose on. So from these points where a class has responded to you, you can have that points, get it into the class which has less responded, and go back again to the collective assignment. When you're making a collective assignment, make it a point that you try to have a combinations of high and low active. I know, I completely agree, this exhausts a teacher, but once into your practice mode and you have a habit, you start recollecting, you can create your own grid. Now let me give you a tip of how the grid is. Now when I make a grid, I make it a point of 9 cubicles, and I'd say, okay, these are the 9 things that I'm going to concentrate on any of the class. So I concentrate on the combinations of students. I concentrate on high and low learner. I divide the class into the content that I want to develop based on the course that I'm teaching, whether it a PG or an undergrads. Then I concentrate on what will be my industry output, because ultimately we have been pushed enough to develop our students through the placement part of it. So that concentration, and then you can concentration on what will be the theoretical concepts, the fundamental concept of it. And then I also concentrate on the class delivery part of it. Will it be more participative or more what we say, external driven part of it. Now I'll just give you one concept of external driven part of it here is, like, for example, if you're teaching a particular subject like supply chain management, so the concept is okay, the case studies is okay, but when you talk about supply chain management, it has to be more related to the industry. So we make it a point that we can make it a point that in my session itself, I can have one odd person being invited. I'm not talking about the guest sessions. I know institute do that, but you can take up help of a guest session who speak about that concept and show some real life, share some real life experience that he or she is doing on the technical front. Now, for example, uh, I'll just give you what happened in my classes. Like, I was talking about the industrial relation, right? So that the topic was conducted, and for last 2 years, I never happened to interact with any of the industry person as we used to, because I'm residing in Pune, and it's very close by for me is MCCIA, that Maharashtra Chamber of Commerce, and there are a lot many associations of industry people coming together and talking about. So in order to upgrade myself, I get associated to them and try to learn that what industry, which I was not able to do that. And there are many more changes which under the industrial law they tried doing it. Since that subject was not too in depth for me, and I always get connected to the industry people, they talking about the real life. So what we did in the session plan itself, we tried having 2 sessions. So this person whom I call, he was from ARIA Pune, Automotive Research Institute of Pune. He heads the HR department. So I invited him. I said, okay, kindly please share the inputs and guide my student besides. So when he was guiding, I parallelly opened up my theoretical PPT, so which talked about industry, why is it important, and then that story was matched together. It took efforts, a lot of efforts, but it gave a technical rehearsal of bringing my people to understand that concept and feel that what happens in reality. Now, the second thing that happened was this person, when he was from industry, talking to this people, person, parallelly, he was trying to understand and help them visualize. Now, what visualize? If you go back 2 years back, we used to take students on the practical note. They can see, they can feel through industrial visit. In our case, we failed doing that. So this person, along with his photograph, was able to explain them that this is how the real life look like, right? So this is how it helped. Then also concentrate on a grace limit. You won't have all people learning together. There will be 10 people who respond to you. I have 63 audience, but I have only 2-3 people who are actually responding me, and it's very natural. No problems. But that doesn't mean the others are not that attentive. They know, they are self-responsible and they are listening to you. But that there's also a time that we have to struggle enough to, get them into that learning mode, get them into the similar mode. And so we are talking about so much of innovations in our pedagogies. So till the time you are figuring out that person is struggling enough to learn and he's constantly showing up, give him a grace limit, right? So and keep it to yourself. Don't worry, you, we as a teacher are also in the learning mode, so don't stress yourself. Also chill, go slow, go steady. You are also on a transformation mode. So when we are transferring ourselves, communicate to the student that I'm also learning with you, I require you, right? The moment people have a sense that we are required and I've been on it for them, believe me, people do help us out. So try to talk about that scaling of the business. This is something very, very important, and I know people at times contradict me, saying that, ma'am, please, being a professional institute in a professional part, don't be too psychological aspect. Don't talk too much of psychology of an individual. But I'm really sorry for that. But I also know that many of us have felt and have used and do understand that emotional connect with a person makes lot of difference. Because when we physically used to be there, do you remember students used to come to us, talk about, used to share the challenges they are facing, problem they are facing, may not be related to the topic, but sometimes they used to feel very, very connected to a teacher. Believe me, even though they are grown up, matured student, now they are adult in terms of a legal definition, but as a human being, just keep it to your mind that you have to create an emotional bond. I know there comes a gender differences also when it comes to emotional connect. But I know if we try struggling and doing it, we'll be much better in position to connect. So sometimes people do some things not because you're saying it, but they do because we are emotionally connected. And this is a high time because we struggle a lot. People are not sitting in front of us physically. We don't know who the person is. We don't know what background he or she belongs in, as we used to have it in a physical class, talking, interacting, feeling, seeing, right? But on an emotional part, we are actually departed when it's on a virtual platform. And that's the reason we have to check in. Now, how to do that? Better use of your all gadgets. Now, if you go to Google Meet right now, we are having to the Yahoo or to the Zoom platform or to your MS Team, we have different faces, icons, right? That we use, right? Emojis that we have. I don't mind. Initially, I used to find very difficult. I was not aware about it. But then later I thought, let me have my language as my student have. So when I start my session, I deliberately call few names and I say, good morning. So they say, good morning. I say, good morning, everyone. Can I expect good morning from you all too? So good morning, everyone. Can anybody say me good morning, please? So good morning, everyone. Nobody said me. So I actually put a sad emoji. I feel sad now. I feel very bad. Now this looked very stupid initially, but it works a lot because now this is awakening your senses and making you fresh enough to look to the slide that has been taught to you. And then putting up, people started. So somebody answered me very well. I use the language they use, put the claps. If somebody comes up and tried saying some inputs or have done very good presentation, I start doing them, thumbs up, appreciating, and slowly and steadily, even my students started getting involved into it. So, randomly asking before you start and taking your attendance in the class, telling somebody, okay, how Priya, how are you? And she has a low voice. No matter if you simply ask her, what happened, dear? It's everything okay? She may land up saying that I'm disturbed today, this happened, my family is not well or something. Now I'll tell you why this thing was very, very much important, because I do remember the date also. It was in the April month, 28th April 2021. I was conducting my session. It was about to end the curriculum, and I happened to ask Sneha. She was a pretty good girl in the class. Always used to give me the answers. Pretty doing good. And for last two sessions, she was absent and not responded. So the third day when she came in my class, I happened to connect, and she said good morning. So pretty docile, so I was worried, like randomly I can feel that the person is not responding the way I want. So I happened to call her Snehalata, please respond. She didn't. I said, fine enough, maybe some bad mood, or maybe not attending that lecture because today she was absent, maybe some. So after a few minutes, I said, Snehalata, I want to talk to you. Please respond me. I have asked you a question, you have not. So she said, no, ma'am, I'm not good. And we happened to come that she has lost her uncle, and so she was disappointed. Now, this looks not to be bothered with the subject that I'm teaching, but yes, doing this, there were 10 other people who start feeling it that, if I'm not in a mood of learning, she understands. So I start diverting the session, I start talking, I start pulling them, and then in that session itself, slowly bringing them together to the learning mode. Now, this may take time, this do take time, but it is very, very important and it works. So that changes has to be brought in the style that teachers can. Do anybody would like to share any of your experience? I'm damn sure many of you might have experienced this in last 2 years and have helped students and struggle in taking care of their emotions, because that's very, very much important when you are actually designing a pedagogy for them. Do anybody would like to share any of your experience? Am I audible to all? Do anybody would like to share anything? Do anybody would like to share anything? I think let's talk about work in partnership. Do you want me to go ahead? Please contradict. Please ask lots of questions. Please share your experience. So work in partnership. Don't take botheration of everything lies on me for teaching. They are more smart. They have more gadgets. I was talking to them about the international strategy, and I found people following Vivek Bantra and talking about a lot of international strategic changes that are taking place. I said it's not going to work, because if I come and I speak only off my head, it won't. So what happened is, when I started realizing what they read, what they watch, because we have very, very, very good YouTube's videos also. So I started taking them, okay, fine, enough, that's a topic. Let's you speak about it. And believe me, many backbenchers who never used to be too participative, and virtually I asked them the questions, they became forward, talked about the videos, they talked about the concept, they talked about showing video. I said, don't show me video. I'm not interested, because seeing a video, I can understand. I would like to listen to that story from your own words, through your mouth. Now this happened, or this made them force enough to look to that video and talk about that in a class. And believe me, when a student speaks something, the peers learn it much faster. So we started dividing the task, we divided the topic, and we made it a collaborative efforts that what will I concentrate on and what my student concentrate on. It's not me, I should not use I, because it was a team efforts that we started doing at our and trust me, when I conducted this workshop with my two more institute in Pune itself, they gave a feedback that it's working. We are also trying to get into that particular mode. As a teacher, we learn from each other. So we keep sharing, okay, that's my style. How do you take this topic? The other shares something. And this is how we learn from each other, isn't it? So this is how things starts working, and it works. Then a lot of role play. Initially, we struggled, but we started having a role play in the virtual platform. So we asked every one of them to have the video. Now, this was something that it was a finance class, and the lady, we learned from her. She actually conducted a virtual budget. So budget was about to come, so she conducted a virtual budget. I'm so excited and happy to share students who were acting as so-called leaders of or the parliamentary leaders. They dressed themselves in that attire for that particular class to complete that class assignment in a role play platform. So they actually talk about the concept, the budget, how the budget is designed, when the budget is coming, why budget is coming, why so much of budget is given, why so much budget was given to army, what changes should be done, what concluded, and what are the financial implications. Everything was structured, right? Three chapters of the subject was learned by the student themselves. I know teacher has worked out in talking and bringing up that concept, but it was such a good exercise and activity that we did, that not only her class got benefited, but we also made it a point that other divisions should listen to what's going on. And there was a pretty good learning that took place. Virtually we can, if you go to the Zoom or MS Team as well, you have a vertical you can use that. You can break rooms are there. You can break students to different groups, ask them to have a prepared time, prepare themselves, and then you can open up for the open platform where they can switch on their cameras and then interact and views. Create lot of social emotional vocabulary, right? I actually wanted to do, but I didn't. So I wanted you to speak to me, but none of you are speaking. So I just wanted to, I'm so sad today. So I am really happy to see, there's a lady who is helping me out. I'm really sorry, ma'am. As I said, I'm not able to see your name, but I'm really excited and delighted to be associated with you, that you're helping me out through responding.
Thank you.
So social emotional vocabulary, we don't know each other, but that small gesture that you showed has actually connected. So I started banging on, I started relying, so when students start feeling that, we have been appreciated, she understands what our language is. So for example, how should I put it? Like for example, many of the time initially student used to say, I can't respond, ma'am, my mic is not. Oh, I don't know, ma'am, I was not able to hear. So now what I started doing it, if you can't respond me verbally, put your answers in a chat box. And when we are conducting, we also try to parallelly. It takes time, but practice makes man perfect. So when you start doing it, you can have a chat box on your screen. So you need not have to bring it to the slide mode. Your PPT is on the PPT mode, and you can see 3 different screens parallel to it if you're working on Zoom or maybe working on your Google as well, or MS Team is best for that because it has many more teaching supportive mechanism for it. So you can use that mode of link created for the students to make them learn, and then put in a chat. So now people, when we are discussing on the strategic integration, forward integration, downward integration, upward integration, and people are not responding, they put their points in chat box. So you as a teacher can take an efforts in reading out that and talking to them, talking about the behavior, and then putting up emojis, putting up the emojis which talks in the right consent. So sometime of an angry face, sometime of whatever you want to communicate, you can use that particular emoji and talk about it. Even sometimes take things on a lighter mode, right? Because there are at times when students do a lot of mischiefs, like we used to have initially that people used to kick students out of the sessions. Don't worry, you can also parallelly say them, do you want to, I can have a blank session, I don't want any single child in my class. So putting up these emotional connect vocabularies in your chats will also help you out in getting connected, because sometimes it creates fear, sometimes it creates concern, sometimes it creates bonding, and so forth. The style can be used by a teacher to get connected to the student. So make a lot of efforts in the reflective lighting. I'll tell you, and this helped us a lot. This was a class of accounting. Now just think over it. You can do it in a design class also. You can do it in a mechanical modeling class also. You can do it into the accounts maths class also, which pretty looks difficult. But, create one odd assignment where you allow your student to speak up their mind. Sometimes you may struggle saying that it doesn't relate to my topic or a subject, and how do you want me to do that? Now, the suggestion was, because this was the question the very first time when I conducted a feedback FDP on this particular aspect, since I also gave a consultation and a counseling sessions to teacher. The teacher group was of accounts and maths who came forward saying that please ma'am, you are an HR and a marketing and a strategic person, so it's very good, easy for you to give a theoretical assignment and ask a student to write, but we struggle a lot because we belong to maths and accounts and it requires practice and it requires questions. I said, fine enough, I'm not saying to disturb your learning, but I'm saying create one where it comes to the reflective writing. Don't expect students to write the book language, right? You always struggle, no? The credit, debit, accounting, P&L account, you struggle in that, right? Because people don't get into the fundamental part of it. Why can't you create one assignment where you ask a student, whatever you have understood, whichever area you are from, right? And whichever example you want to give, just write it in your language. I don't even bother whether you're using a counter language for that assignment. Give one assignment such there where you are giving space to a person to write what he has understood. Believe me, if you pick 5 such assignments and read, you will understand what changes you have to bring in your learning and what are the things that people are lacking in learning, because they are the one who actually gives you a hint that age group, what are they looking forward, how much is their grasping, which point is understood by them. Because that was very much confusion, credit and debit. But this things, when they started doing with the reflective, they started getting connected to a student's mentality, what is their understanding level. This also equally helps a teacher to learn how to deliver the concept in an easy way. Because during that exercise, they started talking about that they observe so-and-so person's video on YouTube because he talks in a regional language and conduct a session, which makes them easy to understand this concept. And this is how I understood. Now, teacher actually wanted to mix it both. This feedback she got when she actually got the result of this reflective writing assignments. So I think that's something which we can learn and we can, do it for ourselves. Allow talking. Let people speak. They may be wrong, but speaking is very, very much important, because during this time pandemic, we all got disturbed, that was a huge struggle. I spent a lot of time on this topic when I conducted a workshop last year, but now things are getting on settled up. So it doesn't look, it do not require that much, but the gestures of allowing talk time for the students and the teachers together have actually improved a lot of methodology. Why I'm saying it so? Because slowly after my session, I'm also going to take you to the pedagogy. So for example, if you're using Kahoot, so how does that Kahoot will work, right? And when you're using that particular Kahoot part of it, so how does allowing student be more participative will help. So if you're using Pedaline method or that particular tool, how will you give an opportunity to design a person with a sticky note? How will he take a call on which video to be shared on my sticky note? So this is where you, as a teacher, let's understand that and then think about which tool or method will I use to complete my course, and that further we can add it in our session plans. So as we talk about build community with teams, that included the point where I was talking about more collaborative assignments. Also allow your students to be friends, because they are virtually present. Many of them are not connected to each other. So randomly putting out people into the cross functioning or the cross groups, or, creating a deliberate group where people are not known to each other. This gives an opportunity to make them friend. I'll just share one of the experience here. In 2020, when the lockdown was high and the 2021 semester batch never interacted in person. No, everyone were from the different backgrounds. So somebody from Hyderabad, somebody from Chennai, Pune, Bangalore. We all have a different background. On the virtual platform, we all were there together in the class. So, and it's so excited. No? We all wanted to meet each other. We wanted to know each other. So we started creating one session, where people started talking about that, who am I? So give them till the time you're doing your assignments, you're doing your attendance, till the time you're making your tech arrangements. So you have 15-20 minutes. So every session you can give 2 odd sessions to make friendship. Okay, hello Rahul, do you know Ankita? Ankita, do you know Amit? Okay, from where are you? Give your background. So every day asking 2-3 students to talk about from which area you are from, which location are you from, what is your background, what you did in your, so if they are undergrads, what you did in your 12th, how you have completed your graduate. So this created a friendship mode for them, and it's very, very much required, because ultimately you want them into the class engagement part of it. So when we talk about engagement, and now I am bringing my entire session from emotional involvement, getting them into the learning mode, getting them into the learn part of it, where they can understand, utilize the right method to deliver to the class. Now here we have reached where we are actually going to talk about the right methodology. So we have understood how the teaching will go hand in hand with the learning part. We have brought these two things together. Now we are talking about the right tool method, right? How I'm going to teach this particular mob and how will they accept it. So we have reached to that level now. So we have started talking about the different methods and tools. So the very first thing that we have to understand is the instructions that physically we used to go do will be a bit different in coming season, coming era. Even in coming days, we all have to accept that the way we used to have our session a few years back, they won't remain similar. Now, why won't they remain similar is I just happen to understand, because soon we started conducting in a hybrid mode. And in a hybrid mode, I realized we also got developed. Very first day, I was very much scared. It took me 6 months to learn different technology part of it. So it's all learning mode. As a teacher, I started learning technology. I started realizing it's much more easy for me, right? So coming back to the class and at times finding it difficult to share the case, I go back virtual and I say, okay, go back to your team. I have uploaded an assignment, open your assignment, go through, and we are going to have a discussion. So definitely, we all will start realizing that the things that we have changed will be taken up. So the instructions, online instructions will be different. So we'll have to create some strategies, some changes in how we are going to take that engagement part of our students. So what methods that we can use or talk about the right pedagogy is, lot of group discussions, because virtually when I'm saying, like, for example, if I say somebody to speak, I can completely understand, with due respect to everyone, that I hardly get any response, right? But ultimately, if it would have been a evaluative class or where I have to, talk about my outcome of learning, definitely I would have made more efforts. Please speak, or else you're not going to evaluate. So lot of group discussions is required, peer-to-peer collaboration, because I'm the one, it's one-way communication, nothing learning for me unless and until somebody speaks to me, right? Somebody gives me some input, somebody contradicts, because many a times we have fear about contradiction, but this actually helps us out in learning from each other. So when we start questioning, when we start discussing a topic, or when we start talking about that topic, when we start sharing some points about it, it's a lot of clarification that we get about that topic, and the understanding is much better. So lot of collaborative assignments are required when we talk about engagement. Not a book assignment I'm talking about, but when I'm talking about class engagement, lot of practical. Now, for example, even in the engineering classes, I was taking one assignment or one training session for engineering class, and they said, ma'am, we are into the practical and the designing part. Some machine designing was the subject, and he said, I really appreciate you conducted a session well, but I want to ask you, how will you suggest a teacher talking about designing to have more of a collaborative or a discussion assignments? I said, sir, ask your student to collaboratively do an assignment and create a small video. Share that video in a class and let people speak about what went wrong, rather than we giving a feedback to our student that this is where you go wrong. Ask a group of students, divide everyone will get an opportunity to do that. So learning will take place. When they are sharing that video, let others comment on that. So when they are made mandatory to comment, and you're going to evaluate on what your people speak, it will make everyone more sincere to be a part of that discussion, right? And this pedagogy will definitely help you out on having a lot of engagement. Use lot of graphs, use lot of videos, lot of personal videos. Like for example, one of the person said, ma'am, I'm very hesitated in public speaking. I won't switch on my camera. I said, don't worry. You don't want to switch on your camera? No, don't worry. I want you to share your video. Unless and until you share your video, you won't be assessed. So I don't want you to switch on your camera and keep on speaking to me. Nothing doing. Just share your video, everything. Now, what happened when the person did that and tried sharing the video? He was also observing and was observing the other people reviews, comments, chats, appreciations, slowly and steadily till the time the person was he. So the time he reached to a third semester, we can see that change. The third semester itself, when I'm about to teach him, I said, Are, so presentation, so you're not going to present yourself, huh? No camera. He said, no, I'm going to do that. He opened his camera and said, good morning, ma'am. I'm attending a lecture. So, after a semester, because there was a gap of one semester that I happened to teach him in first and then in the third semester. So transformation. Now this required time, but this is how we can think about it. And I think not only me, I'm just putting up the point that maybe many of you might have done more creative way of in class engagement. So please, if anybody of you have done anything which has brought a tremendous difference in the class engagement part of it, a request, kindly share on this platform so that we all can learn from your experience also. Do anybody would like to share anything? Anybody would like?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Yeah, this is not regarding particularly to this point, but the earlier point when you were asking us, like, kindly reply. At that time, I just wanted to reply, but my son came and he disturbed me. So actually, I wanted to share that particular part wherein, why students do not reply to the teachers. When we
Absolutely.
start the lectures and all, sometimes students don't reply and we feel very bad. Sometimes even I used to feel bad, like why the
Hmm.
students are not replying.
Hmm.
Am I not capable, or
Hmm.
whether they don't understand what I'm teaching?
Hmm.
But after some time, after conducting, especially the first year students, okay, after conducting
Hmm.
at least 4 or 5 lectures, I realized that slowly the students started replying in the chat box. Okay,
Huh.
so again, that thing was going on in my mind. Like, why are they not opening up, and why are they
Huh.
replying other side?
True.
So then I wanted to speak to the students. I really wanted to know. Then after my lecture,
Huh.
I just spoke to 2, 3 students personally to find
Okay.
out the answer.
That's great.
The main issue with the student is the home learning environment.
Huh.
One,
Huh.
it's like, sometimes there is a lot of distraction
Hmm.
towards their side. If they have small siblings in the
Hmm.
house,
Hmm.
or maybe if their houses are not so good enough that they don't want to show it on camera,
Hmm.
or sometimes they feel like, we don't look so good on camera.
Huh.
What my parents
So
will think about us. This is one point. And second is another point which I got the answer from the student. Economic background. Economic
oh,
background is not the same of all the students, ma'am. They
okay.
have really poor connectivity.
Huh.
The students which I am taking first, one second,
Uh,
but I said, ma'am,
no props, ma'am. No problem, ma'am. I think the point which she talked about, that people, no student thinking that they don't
uh,
want to show their family or from the poor
yeah,
background, is a point to think about. A good
and
teacher.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please continue. Yeah.
Another about the economic background I was telling you all is that
Hmm.
the batches which I teach, especially first year, second year, third year,
Hmm.
none of the students, they bring laptop in the class. That means all of them prefer cell.
Huh.
Laptop is a bit costlier than the cells.
Oh.
And even the students don't come from very good economic background. Some are from urban areas, some are from
Hmm.
semi-urban areas, some
Hmm.
are from rural areas. So we have to also understand the economic background. All the
Hmm.
students don't
Hmm.
afford, they
Hmm.
can't afford cells. Sometimes they go to their
Hmm.
friend's place, or sometimes they borrow the cells from their parents. It's
Hmm.
like it's their it depends also on the
Hmm.
connectivity. When they don't have
Hmm.
good connectivity, they don't feel like replying and all in the class,
Hmm.
because the voice starts breaking. And when the voice
Hmm.
starts breaking, even sometimes the teacher is also not interested in listening to the student. The teacher might say, okay, you might answer me later on. because the teacher is also worried about completing the portion and other things, right? So these are some of the factors which is actually distracting the online teaching and learning process. This is what I have observed. And then after that, I told my students, if you are comfortable, you can put your cameras on and speak. Otherwise, you can just put a message in the chat box. And I made an attempt that whoever was questioning me, I was replying to them, whether it is in the chat box or whether it is through when they opened up in the class. So we have to keep everything in mind, and we shouldn't shout or feel bad if students don't reply, because we have to look at their end also what are the problems they are facing.
I
What I
think
have observed.
very, very, very important inputs that you have shared, ma'am, because we all belong to a different area and may have our own experience. But these are some points that we have to think, put ourselves in the shoes of our student and try to understand. Very, very good inputs. And that this is how it made you a successful teacher when you started concentrating on their emotions and then bringing them in the class and helping them into the learning part of it. So changing your pedagogy from only audio communication to a chat communication. Thank you very much. Indeed, a good inputs given to me, because this will help me out also to bring this example in the next FDPs if ever I can do. Very, very, very useful information. Do anybody else would like to share? Thank you very much, ma'am. Very, very insightful information. Anybody else would like to share anything? Anybody? Okay, so thank you very much. In fact, taking your certain inputs, we'll also try to relate it to in our coming presentation, ma'am. So together, we'll try to take this presentation ahead. We have understood the involvement. We have talked about the engagement part of it. Now let's talk a little bit about the learning enhancement. So when we are talking about the learning, enhancing the learning process, we'll be concentrating on both the student and also on the students who have a genuine reason to give. So thank you very much, ma'am, sharing that they have their own genuine reasons where they have their own explanation why they are not participating in the class, but that doesn't mean they have stopped learning, right? So now we'll try to concentrate on this learning process that we are concentrating on. So let's every one of us talk about creating a culture, as rightly said by ma'am, that the student struggling is not having a right learning environment, right? So rather than concentrating on environment, which is sometimes not in our hand, we all have suffered, and there may be a time that we have to still continue doing it. So now what we can do is creating our institutional culture in such a way that we leave a positive impact on each other, so that we can have a better connectivity and this learning connectivity. I'm not talking about the technical connectivity, I'm talking about the connectivity between two individuals and the class. So creating an environment where helping each other to learn from each other using right administration, right supportive approach, right technological support, right adaptable approach, right delivery of content, supportive document of contact, and evaluation. So when we have all these things together, then we have a right way of making a learning process. Lot of empowered videos will definitely help. Two things why I'm saying it. One, I'm not saying that make your learning easy and just show a video to your class and things is done. When you're showing the video parallelly, do talk about it. Second, when you're showing the video, you're actually getting connected to their liking. Because if you see this generation, half of the time they are on their mobile looking for 1 hour videos. So use their weapon for their own self. You like video now, watch video. What I'm expecting is talk about that video. So when they are supposed to talk about that video and understood the concept, this definitely bring them into the learning. The brain start working. Okay, what I have seen, what I have interpreted, what I have learned, what I have to imbibe, what I have the thing I have to take, and their brain get designed to have all that information closed, right? as rightly said, like ma'am said, and gave an example that she started encouraging people to put in a chat. Now, encouraging people to put in a chat is not only they putting their points in chat, but we taking a consensus of those chats. So reading out chat, responding to them. Sometimes chat has a right content too. Sometimes you also have to say that this is wrong. So rather than saying wrong, you may say, okay, you have talked about poor communication, but I don't think this case talk about poor communication, dear. All right, I can see Mohit putting a point saying that, barriers in communication, right? Mohit, I appreciate that you have come up to the right point of barrier of communication. Can you also give me 2-3 barriers that comes? Now this boy is also putting up a point in this. Parallel, you have somebody who is trying to respond, and then you can have them bring together. So lot of empowerment on your communication of that. Then flexible lesson plan, which we would like to connect to that. Design your sub-part session plan. One session plan which you support for the academic, and the second session plan that I give you an example of grid wala partner. So we can also use a session plan to be more creative. So we can have it into a pedagogy where you try to cross-check your own self that this is what I have done, and have tick mark the delivery of it. So important thing when you're talking about the learning process as a management, also we have to think about the competitive skill teachers. I think that's a reason I should all appreciate Mrugappa Institute, that they have taken so much of efforts in connecting to the student. It was a big surprise to me that technical institute should talk about technology, should talk about different tools, high-end tools of the teaching part of it. But I was so surprised when Shekhar sir was communicating to me and talking about the concerns that top management has towards developing a teacher and understanding the pedagogy. So they are working so hard in training their teachers to get connected to the psychological aspect of student learning methodology, innovative teaching pedagogy in the changing part of it. So not only concentrating on student, but we all are also concentrating on the skill development of teacher. And that's the reason we all are together here attending one odd FDP. So today I am talking enough FDP. Some other day I am a participant who would like to learn from somebody else to be a good skill developed individual. So this is where the result brings us back again to the right result oriented assignment. So when you're doing a learning, it's not only doing internal exam and assessing an assignment, but try to talk about your objective. So bringing you back to the grid, which I said, talking about what learning should take place. So one learning is towards the content. The second learning is towards my placement orientation. The third is to skill develop themselves. So if you have your assessment, your test design in such a way that it helps you out in cross-checking the objectives achieved, will lead to understand whether I have achieved the outcome. So when you are talking about your pedagogy, have right evaluation process in place. This will help you out in having a right learning process of online education as well. So the very first thing that we all have to conclude when I'm getting you back to the tools that we are going to use in the teaching pedagogy. The very first thing that we have accepted and will accept that there's a difference between the traditional and online, and we all are understanding. So let's now talk to each other using the body language. So your body language, your tone, your smile, your voice, your letters, your right word, your emojis, your cameras. So, communicate with your student. Now, I'll give you one more example. Now things have changed and we all have started working, but we actually gave a training. So my very first training, I do remember, my management asked me to give to the teachers where that how to conduct an online training sessions. Now, we conducted a 5-session training program to our teachers, and my part was personality part of it. Do you know what I said in that? It was just a fun, but I actually talked about the fashion sense to be carried by a teacher on online learning. You'd be wondering to think, what is she talking about? But yes, we have to make an attempt to talk to our teachers that when you're taking a virtual class, please feel your own self that you're in class, right? Because initially we used to find teachers not coming properly dugged up in their virtual class. So I conducted a session talking about please shave yourself, please comb yourself, please wear a professional cloth, please make up yourself, put some accessories, look more presentable on your class, have a right toner, have a right light effect, have a right background, have a right room. So entire training was given to our teaching. It doesn't mean they were bad. It was that they required an assistant, right? They required a little bit guidance for it. So a new mindset, which was eventually have to be bought in order to. Now, what happened because of this? The lethargic outlook of an individual slowly changed. So when you professionally get dug up in front of camera, your body language also become more professional. And that's very, very much required by us as a teacher. Right. So that training was also given. Later, we never required it because once the training was given and once the people were sensitized about it, we started realizing that things are working. But believe me, it helped me a lot because when I conducted this and through mouth publicity, people came to know about it. They also started asking me to give certain inputs on this. So it was my friends. We all started sharing together, giving that inputs, and it really helped each one of them. Now, why am I talking about this in the pedagogy, in the innovative pedagogy? I thought I should have that point because it is very, very much important when we require our students to duck up themselves, to be professionally ready in the physical class. We used to make it mandatory for them to physically carry themselves, right? Right dress, right approach, right mannerism, because this is where our placement team looks forward. Right, depending on the institute we are in and depending on the placement service that we give, definitely. But then when we want to pinpoint somebody that this is how I want you to behave and wear, we also may have to make an effort that we do carry ourselves in a virtual platform. We have to take deliberate efforts in telling them that when you are coming for an interview, even on the screen, I want you to be dugged up this way. So if I want to pinpoint somebody, I got to make it a point that my team has to be ready to make them eligible to pinpoint. So, which was included in the pedagogy itself. So the method that you're using when you're trying to deliver, you deliver it in such a way that you're talking to a professional institute. That's the reason I thought, let me bring this point. Depending on the what we say, the course that we are addressing to and the institute where we are in, we can take a call on it. So when we're taking an effort on our team members, we also have to talk about a little bit sensitivity which we have to bring to our teacher. Like I should really appreciate a lady sharing her experience that, ma'am, my student, when I thought that there's something wrong, I personally went talking to my student. So I realized that there's a genuine reason, but then I started considering it. That consideration is very, very much important. So in the few years back, I do remember telling a student, hey, you're late in my class. I'm not going to take you in a class, which I couldn't afford in my online class. I said, it's not going to work because I may land up having only 10 to 15 students in my class because in an virtual platform, there are many of them who comes and say, sorry, I got late because of so-and-so. So no bossy attitude is going to be worked by my end despite me on a position. My concern should not be on listen to me. My concern should be, please listen to me on the learning part. My ultimate objectivity should be whether the person is learning. So keeping your ego aside. Now, I'm not talking about ego is like, I am somebody. I'm trying to put it, and you come to a emotional part of it. So we won't be seeing student giving us the right feedback, because when we used to take physical class and we used to say something, we could relate that people are understanding or not, are they giving us a feedback or not, with their body language. So sometimes we also know that people are not listening to they're doing their musti, but we also understand from their body language that fine enough, they are doing a notorious thing in the class, but still they are attentive, they are with me. Which won't happen in our virtual platform, right? You are begging them out to speak and you'll figure out nobody is going to speak to you. And then, how can you do this to me? Arey, you are not a good audience. You're not listening to me. Now, this won't work. You have to change. So, accept it that we won't get an appreciation. Accept it that we won't get a reply. Accept it that your people will not try to give you inputs. Fine enough. But that doesn't mean that they are not listening. That doesn't mean that they don't want to be part of you. That doesn't mean that they don't want to attend the session. Try to figure out what's the reason behind it and what's that thing that triggered them to contribute. That's where your change, innovations in your pedagogy will work, and which will lead you to the inputs that we have shared. Be available for them, right? It's 24-hour when we have to say. So sometimes your people need to communicate, use all your gadgets, be on WhatsApp, be on phone, be on virtual. If you figure out that it's consuming a lot of your time, try to create your small meetings with each group. So that means you're giving them a structured time to communicate and you're available from them. So the moment you will start doing this small exercise initially, the entire batch will be in the control mode for you. So this is be available part will definitely help us out in communicating the pedagogy that we have designed for them. Now, bringing you to the skill that we as a teacher have to develop is our own communication skill. I don't say English as a communication part here. Communications means tones, connective, chats, emojis, technology, use of technology, right way of communication, your contents, being passionate enough to understand to them, be more passionate, you be involved. Khud mein energy nahi hai, what I want to say others. So you yourself be more motivated that if I'm going to deliver this is what I'm going to deliver with my energy, right? Then empathetic towards student. As rightly she said that I didn't shout it, ma'am. I understood that they belong to different financial background. Now, this is very sensitive, right? Even if I want to say something, I know I can't, right? So understanding them, going to their level, communicating to them what they understand or what rather they want to listen, sometimes will definitely help us out because they'll be involved in what I'm delivering to them. Be patient, everything comes. Be more subjective. A lot of reading. When you're virtually present, people have Google in front of them and they land up asking a lot of questions. So if they are 10, you have to be 20 for them. So a proper time management, take time. That's the reason initially I said that people are going to say it requires time management. That is where the practice for a teacher comes in, with the right session plan, with the right pedagogy, with the right tool to be used, and more creative in their lecture delivery. So you don't take up a responsibility. You also try to have a collaborative approach of learning. Now, bringing you all to methodologies that you can use in the class with respect to your subjects. Now, depending on the type of subjects that you conduct for the course, you can have flipped classrooms, right, where the responsibilities have a lot of project-based learning. So few subjects where require industrial inputs, we try to have a lot of project-based. So to remember, I give you an example in the morning where I said, okay, the assignment came from a strategic management point of view, where we tried to come up with a business development model, and we had that exercise done in our ED cells activity. So ED cell, entrepreneurship development, strategic management subject, these all were being brought together. So we had involvement of the finance team, HR team, marketing team. Now we all conduct our respective subject in our course, but we give that one assignment, and an assignment where people been asked to do that assignment keeping in mind all these fundamentals together. So now the teacher who has taught marketing can assist them on the marketing portfolio, HR teacher can assist them on the HR portfolio. So this is how we try doing our assignments. Similarly, let me give an example, like advertisement. So we tried conducting that advertisement part. Now, when we tried understanding, we talked about the advertisement of the product, we talked about the advertisement of the placement part of it, and we asked students to design a video. So they have to do a role play, come up with a video, share it in a class. So now this is where we used a lot of gamifications and videos and video games. So I do remember I was teaching, let me give an example here. Yeah, I was teaching them again resolution techniques and negotiation wala. Was so much disturbed at that day that every one of them are playing that PUBG wala. Even at my place, my son is playing that PUBG, and I was so much disturbed. And I'm really disturbed. Huh? I don't know what they like about the PUBG, but all these adolescents, they are involved in that PUBG and they want to play. I was really pissed up, and I said something to do with it. And then even in my class that day, I had a funny incident that by mistake a student's audio video was open, and I could see that he's tuk, 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 he's actually playing that game. I said something to do. So now what I said, I gave them, you all have to play one PUBG game. They said, what, ma'am? I said, no, no doing. Make your team. You like to play PUBG, na? Make a PUBG. They played a PUBG game, and then through that I asked them, okay, now explain me what are conflict, what is revolution, what is strategies, which type of strategy, what is competitor, how you analyze your competitor, how you made your own strategy. Now PUBG, their PUBG. Now you talk about the subject. So this is where you can think about how can I redesign. So design thinking process can be changed, and thinking based learning can take place. And ultimately you don't have to worry more about CBT because now we all have shifted to the CBT. So when we have reached to the CBT learning, let me take you to the different techniques and tools uh, that we as a teacher can use in our classroom. Yes, few of them I have shown here, which personally I have used in my class. I'll be explaining more to you. But these are few tools that depending on the type of subject, depending on the type of objective, and depending on the outcome that we want, we can use any one tool for that particular assignment or a class teaching. So the different tools that you can go, they all are, believe me, very easy. Initially you require time to practice your own self as a teacher. I took a lot of time to practice myself on the Padlet, because Padlet, what happened is when I conducted that, they have to put up the chit pan. So I used to get mismatched by my timing and the students responded. So they used to be lagging in between. But slowly and steadily, when you start doing it, you'll figure out that these tools are really very much helpful. Now they are Answer Garden, Flipguard, H5P interactive. H5P is interactive, but the subjects which I have conducted, I never have used this tool. But yes, people from other specializations of operations, they operation, and one of friend, I think she takes that some general management subject. So she said she has used for entrepreneurship and all. So the lady has given me feedback that मैंने तो करके देखा है, I have started using it. I don't know, I've never used it, but this is again one of the good tool that can be used. Kahoot is wonderful. I go for Kahoot, Flipguard, Answer Garden, Padlet. MS Team is again wonderful platform if you can work on. Lot of quizzes you can design. So even if you go for any of the platform or Google Meet or Zoom or MS Team, you can figure out that conducting assignments on them, the quizzic part of it is very creative. So we can do, and it's quick for us to conduct and assess also. So initially you'll have to take time before you design your session plans. Once you're done through it, everything is set for you, and then you can conduct your sessions much better. You can design which topic to be conducted personally with you, which topic to be conducted through exercise, which topic to be conducted by assignment, so that you can cover up the topic of time management, which I said. Now, let me give some inputs about the Answer Garden, how it actually works. It's a very good tool. Initially, when we have to conduct the online test, so we were very much confused how the paper will be designed and all. So we all teachers started using Answer Garden. And now I use this when I have to give an objective type paper for them. So I conduct a assignment where a theoretical paper is created of say 5 questions, and then a small Answer Garden tool is given to the students where single word answer have to be given. Now this makes them ready with the objective type of question they may face it during their exam. So you can have this designed with the limit of 20 to 40 character. So you can have one question where it only have to give you one type of answer. One word is an answer for it. So if you try to assess organization, analyzing organization on 3 stages, which are they? So it is individual, group, task. So you can write it on a one line with a 40 characters. So this works very good into it. You don't have to require any registration. So as a teacher, you can create your own assessment for it. You can float the link to the students. Students can do it at their end by giving a poll for you. Then Flipgrid. This is very, very useful. We tried using it even in our placement activity, because we have to give a feedback that where you went wrong in your interview, where you went wrong in the presentation, okay, where people went wrong into the content part of it. So we asked students to design their extempore, create their video, upload an assessment, and they were also been given an opportunity to assess yourself. Like for example, if I'm doing a presentation and I'm having a, like for example, myself, I have a very much exposed to my body language. I use a lot my hands and things, then only I can speak very confidently. So how much it is okay, where to stop, when not to do it. So this is how these feedback was given to the students through using the Flipgrid. It also improves students to develop their digital literacy, because this tool is actually helping them out in using lot of digital assistance. So this definitely improved them. And many people are hesitant for public speaking, but when they are using this tool, they're on their own, but eventually getting exposed to the audience, learning from each other, and also getting an opportunity to show how do they. So that motivates them to speak, encourage their communication, improve their communication. And teacher can also show student the ideal expected outcome through the videos and shared information on this. This also had a what we say library. So they have a if you go to that and register, your all assignments get registered over there, so that the platform has all your earlier videos located, so you can relocate it, talk about it. Again, going back to the Kahoot part of it, it's very, very good tool. I'm really fond of it. You don't have to log in or register, so no such complexes in it. You can have lot of quizzes, games, much into fun part of it. So you can create your own topic in more fun part, and you can encourage your students to be a part of your learning. So this is again very, very much useful. It definitely helps you out in covering all your goals and your objectives and the learning outcomes of your class. You have MS Team, so I just give you MS Team where you can use your assignments. You can upload. I thought I have bought my screenshots, but I think due to some a legal aspect, I have not brought my own screenshots of MS Team, because in MS Team we have good opportunities of uploading our own videos. So you conduct your lectures and it automatically get recorded, and students can add their own part, can go for the videos. You can you have inbuilt quiz systems, so you can go and design a quiz system regularly. You can give a timing allotment and assignment to the student. A very, very good tool that can be used by any teacher to conduct her sessions. So this is from my end. Thank you very, very much. As I said, I wanted you to please communicate your own points. Ask me a lot of questions if you can. So thank you very, very much. I hope I have not taken much of your time. So anybody, please, any question?
Thank you, ma'am. Dear participants, if you have any query, you can unmute your mic and you can.
I have, I can see Gulshan Mulha sir raising his hand. So, sir, do you have any question, or you would like to share something with us, please?
No, ma'am, it's me. It's me. I had raised this hand earlier, so I just forgot to put it down.
Okay, no props, ma'am. No
Yes.
props. I said na the screen was big, so I couldn't see the participants.
Yeah.
Now I have, now I can see. So I would definitely like to see. Okay, Gulshan ma'am, hi, nice to know you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Oh,
I would also like to. Yeah, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please continue, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to share something about the certain methods, the teachers can use in the class. One is like, while teaching, we should use examples as much as we can to make the class very interesting. One.
Absolutely.
Second, teach in the class with the help of projectors, showing some images, videos related to the material, related to the subject matter. It shouldn't be like you're teaching and teaching, because students, there is possibility that students lose the connection. So if a teacher wants that connection to be, to be there with them for at least 45 minutes or 1 hour, it's very important to use examples related to the subject as well as little personal examples, because students always they like to know personal things about the teachers. Like you can share like yesterday where you went, and then you can suddenly can connect it to the subject. Like for example, once I was teaching about Karl Marx, okay, Karl Marx theory of class struggle. Then before I started with study, I just told them yesterday I saw a fight, a conflict between the people. They were fighting, and I was just observing it. In the same way, during Karl Marx's time, these people had a conflict like this. You can connect it, your example to your subject, so that that creates interest among the students. And then a little your personal examples, like where you went yesterday, just you went for a movie, something like that, to keep the attention of the students in the class, so the students will lose the connection, because there are chances that students do lose the connection in the class. So these examples, whether it is personal examples or related to the subject, using a projector is very important, because if you teach, because we teach for 1 hour, and continuously when you teach for 1 hour, it's impossible that the students will listen to you. So when you show some figures, facts, some tables, and teach with the help of all this, then using this methods, the class becomes very interesting. Sometimes even the teacher doesn't know when she has finished it, and sometimes students even don't realize that the lecture is done. And these are some tips, like, which I follow in my class. I thought like I'll share it if there are some teachers there out.
True, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Really indeed good information, ma'am. Thank you very much. Yes. Anybody, any other question, please?
Dear participant, if you have any query, you can unmute your mic and post your questions to the expert, madam.
Not only question, if you want to share anything that you do differently, or you have experimented something which will be beneficial to share with others, do please share with us. I think that will be a takeaway for me. I think Shekhar said nobody wants to ask anything.
I think the session was very explanatory and detailed. So I think you delivered everything what you are planned, and participants are also satisfied with what they expected. So it seems there is no question. If any questions they want to get it clarified from you, I will definitely let you know, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. So on behalf of the Polytechnic and Department of Mechanical Engineering, and on behalf of all the participants, I express our sincere thanks to Madam Dipti, madam, for delivering a wonderful session. And the session was a very informative, useful, and definitely participants are going to make a benefit out of it. Thank you very much, ma'am. Very much thank you for accepting our invitation without any hesitation. You accepted our invitation, and very particularly you readily accepted to be the first resource person, because some resource person, the first condition they put is don't send me as a first batsman. Let's take. We will handle it later, like that way. So for that also, yeah, special mention. Thanks, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you. Sir, I would like to just acknowledge, I was going, like when you were saying, I was going through the messages that we have. Soumya Arun, the person has messaged, I believe, professional tool usage used in industry to understand problem and make things more realistic. Absolutely. So the moment when we start using a little bit tools, your students start upgrading. Similarly, institutes are taking efforts in coming up with certain skill developed certification from a student, which eventually help them. Analytics is coming in, and organizations are taking efforts in teaching analytic tool to the student. So definitely, Soumya, Arun, sir, ma'am, it's really very good input that you have given. Sugandhi, ma'am, she has said thank you, ma'am. So thank you very much. I didn't understood. Somebody has put jealous. So I didn't understood why jealous.
That is in connection to the previous session thing, I think.
Acha, okay. No, but it's 12:33 p.m. So that is something to do. Okay, I take it positively. So jealous.
You touched upon some emotional things and all, no? That's why that
jealous wala part. Okay.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.